person who doesn't need to be in the hospital be in the hospital for 5 days. You know, I wish I would have known, if I'm being honest, because I heard that somebody told me that he was showing text, so now I can show a text. And please don't, I blocked you, I don't engage, I'm not going to say your name, just don't talk about me. I don't want anything else to do with you. You're not my friend. Okay, you don't like me, I'm a muppet, I'm a snagger-tooth. You're right, I'm a snagger-tooth. I have teeth, but I can't chew.
The whisper started off quiet, but the longer Tamar Braxton kept talking, the louder they became. Fans have seen Tamar pull stunts before, but this time the storyline she pushed was to crack to stand. She claimed she had teeth knocked out. First it was 3, then it became 4. And some even joked 3,000 the way she exaggerated, along with a fractured nose. She spoke as if she had survived a brutal assault, but the receipts didn't match. Pictures surfaced of her outside with a full face of makeup, partying as if nothing had happened. And suddenly the streets were asking the questions Tamar didn't want to hear. If she was really hurt, why wasn't she resting? Why wasn't she under medical care? Why did her story change every time she opened her phone? At first, Tamar insisted a friend had found her in distress. Days later, she posted about being completely alone. People were confused. How can you be rescued and abandoned at the same time? Then came the shifting locations, Atlanta 1 minute, Miami the next, then suddenly Northside. Fans couldn't keep up. And that was the point. Tamar's story felt less like truth and more like a script being rewritten. In real time, each contradiction looked like a desperate patchwork after fans poked holes in the first version. Sympathy turned to suspicion. Instead of concern, people started calling it a rollout, accusing her of spinning chaos as a marketing stunt for her new music. But through all the noise, one detail hit harder than everything else. Where was Tamar's family? Normally, when a celebrity claims they've been hurt, the family jumps in, protecting the image, defending the honor. But this time, silence. Not a single Braxton sister rushed to her side. Toni Braxton, the global star, stayed quiet. Trina Braxton, always outspoken, had nothing to say. And Towanda Braxton, the one known for balancing honesty with loyalty, held her tongue. For longtime fans of the Braxton family, that silence was louder than any headline. It said more than any Instagram post ever could, because let's not forget, this isn't just any family. The Braxtons built an empire on unity, showing the world on Braxton family values that when one hurts, we all hurt. For years, people believed that bond was unbreakable. Yet here was Tamar, claiming she was broken. And her sisters, nowhere in sight. It raised eyebrows, it sparked debates. It pushed the hardest question of all. If your own sisters don't believe your story, why should the public? That question lingered until Towanda finally offered a glimpse of the truth behind the silence. She didn't name Tamar directly, but her words carried weight. In a conversation with her husband, she stressed the importance of boundaries. She explained that as adults, each sister has to create her own life, her own emotions, her own rules. Just because they're blood doesn't mean they have to stand in every storm together. Towanda made it clear. She had her own family now, her own priorities, and she wasn't going to risk her peace for drama that wasn't hers to carry. Fans immediately connected the dots. Who else could she be talking about? The timing was perfect. Tamar was in the headlines for her injury claims. Social media was already roasting her contradictions. And right in the middle of it all, Towanda drops a message about setting boundaries and refusing to let her sister's chaos spill into her life. That wasn't coincidence, that was strategy. And though Towanda never said Tamar's name, she didn't need to. Everyone watching understood. It was her way of saying, Tamar, this time you're on your own. This isn't the first time the Braxtons have hinted at Tamar's behavior. Towanda once admitted the family created a monster by indulging her attention-seeking from childhood. What started as playful dramatics turned into a lifelong pattern of chaos as an adult. Look at Tamar's history. Every time an album or project is near, trouble surrounds her. A health scare, a relationship blow-up, an emotional meltdown. Each conveniently timed to get headlines. Fans may have excused it before, but her sisters clearly aren't buying anymore. Towanda's words about boundaries weren't just gentle advice, they were a refusal to co-sign the circus, a refusal to defend Tamar if she was exaggerating for attention, a refusal to burn herself in fires she didn't start. And for longtime viewers, that shift was shocking. Towanda had always been critical, but she still protected the family brand. This time, she chose peace over loyalty, and that choice spoke louder than any clapback. It left Tamar wide open. Without her sisters behind her, she became just another celebrity spinning stories online. Without the validation of her family, the sympathy she wanted fell flat. Instead, fans started to realize what the Braxtons had been hinting at all along. Tamar's drama wasn't just bad luck or bad timing. It was self-made, and Towanda, with her calm but firm refusal, confirmed what people had already suspected. The Braxton family was done enabling it now. Social media is split. Some feel sorry for Tamar, arguing that families should stand together no matter what. Others argue Towanda is finally protecting her peace, refusing to be dragged into another whirlwind. One thing is certain: the silence of the Braxton sisters, broken only by Towanda's indirect but cutting words, has turned this situation into something bigger than Tamar's alleged injuries ever could, because now the real question isn't just what happened to Tamar, it's why is her family refusing to defend her. And that, more than anything Tamar has said, is what has the public glued to this drama. When Towanda finally spoke, she didn't scream, she didn't insult, she didn't even say Tamar's name. But that's what made her words slice deeper. Silence can be powerful, but calculated silence, that's a weapon. And Towanda wielded it masterfully. She looked calm, collected, and unbothered while Tamar unraveled online with tales of broken teeth and fractured noses. Instead of rushing in to save her little sister's image, Towanda chose distance. She chose boundaries, and in a family like the Braxtons, built on unity above all else. That choice was shocking. Towanda reminded everyone of the family motto: when one hurts, we all hurt, then shattered it by making one thing clear: adulthood changes the rules. Once you create your own household, you create your own emotions, your own way of dealing with life. Translation: she doesn't have to feel what Tamar feels anymore. She doesn't have to defend Tamar's chaos. She doesn't have to clean up Tamar's mess. It was a statement of separation, a polite but firm way of saying, I'm not carrying your baggage anymore. And let's be real, this wasn't just about setting boundaries. This was Towanda Braxton openly refusing to enable her sister any longer. For years, fans watched Tamar Braxton spiral into chaos right before every major project, a single, a show, a new appearance, and like clockwork, here came the drama. And just as predictably, the family would rush in. They'd defend her, smooth over the cracks, and shield the Braxton brand from the fallout. But this time was different. This time, Towanda wasn't playing cleanup crew. Her silence wasn't just family tension, it was accountability. People forget, Towanda has always been the one willing to say what others tiptoe around. Years ago, she famously admitted the family created a monster in Tamar by feeding into her theatrics. That moment went viral because fans could see the truth for themselves. Tamar thrived on tantrums, demanded attention, and fed off conflict. Towanda wasn't being cruel, she was being real. And now, years later, she's proving she hasn't changed her stance. She's done entertaining Tamar's games. When Towanda spoke of everyone needing to walk their own path, she wasn't preaching a vague life lesson. She was sending a pointed message: Tamar's storms are no longer her responsibility. She was drawing a sharp line between being a supportive sister and being dragged into someone else's self-made chaos. Fans caught it instantly. They knew who she was talking about, even if she never said the name. And that's the irony. Tamar lives for names. She thrives on being the headline, the main character, the one everybody is whispering about. But Towanda stripped that power away by refusing to acknowledge her directly. It was clever. It left Tamar's defender scrambling while giving Towanda the safe distance to deny she meant her. That's the genius of silence. You can tell the truth without ever saying the name, and everyone still knows exactly who you mean. Social media lit up the second Towanda's words dropped. Fans started quoting her lines about boundaries, emotions, and building your own family. One viral comment read, Towanda basically said Tamar's mess is her own mess. And I felt that. Another hit even harder. When your own blood refuses to defend you, maybe it's time to admit you're the problem. While Tamar's loyal fanbase rushed to defend her, the wider reaction was crystal clear. Towanda's calm dismissal cut deeper than any clapback. But this runs deeper than shade. Towanda wasn't just refusing to defend Tamar, she was protecting herself. Because every time Tamar drags her name into scandal, it splashes on the whole family, producers, networks, brands. They don't just see Tamar, they see the Braxtons. And if Towanda is trying to build her own lane, her own peace, her own household, why would she risk it all by attaching herself to Tamar's chaos? In many ways, stepping back wasn't just personal, it was survival. And when you look at the timing, it all clicks. The Braxtons are quietly preparing for a new chapter. They've been rebranding, posting, getting ready to step back into the spotlight. If Tamar is spinning a messy story for sympathy or promo, that threatens everyone else's work. Towanda's refusal to defend her wasn't cold, it was strategy. It was her way of saying, we love you, but you won't drag us down with you. That's why Towanda's words landed like a hammer. Because this wasn't about one messy story, this was about years of history. This was about finally cutting off a cycle the family once admitted they created. This was about stopping the monster before it destroyed them all. For fans who've been watching for over a decade, it felt like a turning point. Towanda didn't just break her silence. She broke the illusion that the Braxtons will always blindly stand behind Tamar. Of course, Tamar hasn't taken this lightly. Insiders say she feels betrayed, convinced her family should defend her publicly no matter what they believe privately. That's the divide. Tamar thrives on public validation. Towanda thrives on private peace. And when those collide, you get exactly what we're seeing now. Tamar isolated, spinning contradictions online, while her family sits back, refusing to play her game. It's a dangerous spot for Tamar. Without her sisters backing her, the narrative slips out of her hands. She can post 1,000 updates, but if Towanda hints that she's done, fans read it as confirmation. Confirmation that Tamar is exaggerating. Confirmation that her injuries aren't what she claims. Confirmation that even her own blood doesn't believe her. Once that seed is planted, it's almost impossible to erase. This isn't just sibling tension, this is a reputation war. Tamar's image has always been dramatic, yes, but it was also anchored by her family. Without their support, her credibility crumbles. Towanda's refusal didn't just silence the circus, it exposed it. Fans no longer just see Tamar's contradictions, they see Towanda's silence as proof. And maybe that's the real headline here. Not Tamar's supposed injuries, not the fractured nose or missing teeth. The real story is a fracture inside the Braxton family itself. Because when one sister finally says, "Enough, I won't be dragged into your mess," it changes everything. It changes how fans view Tamar. It changes how producers view Tamar. And most of all, it forces Tamar to face herself, because if your own blood won't defend you, who do you really have left? By the time Towanda's message about boundaries spread across social media, the focus had shifted. It wasn't about broken teeth anymore. It wasn't about the inconsistencies in Tamar's posts. The spotlight turned to something much bigger. Why her own sisters refused to defend her. That silence became the headline. That silence became the proof, and in that silence, fans saw the truth Tamar wanted to hide. And let's not sugarcoat it. Tamar has a track record of attaching chaos to her career. Scroll back through her history and you'll see it. Every big moment is wrapped in drama. A messy breakup here, a health scare there, an emotional breakdown right before a rollout. It used to work, it used to keep her relevant, but now it's backfiring. Fans are tired of the theatrics, and when her own sister refuses to play along, that fatigue becomes confirmation. Towanda's refusal didn't just distance herself, it highlighted the pattern. It forced fans to connect the dots. Why would Towanda, who has always carried the Braxton family values brand, suddenly step away now? The answer is simple: because the pattern has become undeniable. Tamar's chaos isn't accidental, it's strategic. And Towanda no longer wants to be a pawn in that game. And that's where it hits hardest. Because in families like the Braxtons, image is collective. Producers don't just see Tamar, they see Tony. Networks don't just cast Tamar, they think about Towanda and Trina. The Braxtons are a package deal, whether they want to be or not. Which means every scandal Tamar creates doesn't just hurt her, it drags them all by stepping back. Towanda wasn't just protecting herself, she was sending a message to the entire industry. We are not part of the circus, we are not co-signing her chaos. Social media lit up like wildfire. Some fans praised Towanda Braxton for finally drawing a line, calling her decision powerful and overdue. They wrote things like, "She's protecting her peace," and I respect it. Others felt conflicted, insisting families should defend family no matter what. But even Tamar's defenders couldn't ignore the weight of Towanda's silence. The fact that she didn't speak her sister's name, yet still made headlines, showed just how heavy her words were. Fans could feel the subtext. They could read between the lines, and they knew exactly who she was talking about. Meanwhile, Tamar Braxton's credibility was falling apart. Every contradiction in her story was magnified by the fact that her own sisters refused to step in. If your own blood doesn't defend you, why should strangers? That became the running conversation across every platform. Even Tamar's attempts to clap back, to post more details, to keep the spotlight on herself, none of it landed without her family's backing. Every new update felt weaker, colder, and more desperate. This is where the real fracture in the Braxton legacy comes into play. Fans once believed Braxton family values meant unconditional unity, that no matter how messy things got, the sisters would always circle the wagons. But Towanda's boundaries prove something no one wanted to admit: blood isn't always enough. Sometimes loyalty has limits. Sometimes survival means stepping away, even from family. And that's the heartbreaking truth of it. Behind all The gossip behind the contradictions, behind the accusations of attention-seeking. This is still a family that rose together, endured losses together, and promised the world they would hurt as one. Yet now, for the first time, we're watching that promise collapse. Towanda isn't defending Tamar. She's defending herself, and that shift changes everything. But maybe that's exactly what Towanda wanted the world to see. Maybe she wanted fans to understand the family is finished enabling Tamar. Maybe she wanted Tamar to finally realize there are consequences for never changing, for always playing the victim, for turning chaos into currency, because without her sisters covering the fallout, Tamar is forced to face the backlash alone, and perhaps, for the first time, she'll have to accept that attention can't always save her. The fans aren't blind. They've connected the dots. They've remembered the scandals that pop up like clockwork whenever Tamar has a project. They've seen her feed off negative attention, and now, with Towanda stepping back, they feel validated. They believe the Braxtons themselves have confirmed what the streets have been saying all along. Tamar is addicted to the drama, and her family is done playing along, of course. Not everyone agrees. Some argue Tamar is misunderstood, that she's endured real trauma, that scars from abusive relationships and mental health struggles don't vanish just because she's famous. But even those arguments can't erase the impact of Towanda's silence, because at the end of the day, words can be spun, but actions speak louder. And Towanda's refusal was louder than anything Tamar could post. This moment marks a turning point for the Braxtons. It's no longer Tamar versus the public, it's Tamar versus her own blood, and when family chooses peace over blind loyalty, the dynamic changes forever. Tamar might spin another story, she might create another distraction, but the damage is already done, the illusion of unity is shattered. Towanda has declared that she has her own life, her own priorities, her own family, and she won't sacrifice any of it for Tamar's mess. And maybe that's the lesson everyone watching can take away. Because as messy as this saga is, Towanda's stance resonates with people who've had to draw lines with toxic family members. Sometimes, love isn't enough. Sometimes, loyalty turns into self-destruct. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is protect your own peace, even if it means letting go of someone you love. So where does this leave Tamar? Alone with her contradictions, her shifting stories, her chaos. Without her sisters beside her, she's no longer the untouchable Braxton wildcard. She's just another celebrity trying to pull sympathy from the public. Without the Braxton name defending her, she risks losing the credibility that made her stand out, and as painful as it may be, maybe that's exactly the reality she has to face. Towanda's silence wasn't cruel. It wasn't cold. It was necessary. It was the boundary that should have been drawn years ago. And in refusing to defend Tamar, Towanda reminded the world and her sister that even family has limits. And now, the only question left is the one I'll leave with you. Do you think Towanda did the right thing by stepping back? Or should family always stand together no matter what? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because this isn't just the Braxton story, it's a reflection of choices so many of us have faced between loyalty and peace. Loyalty and peace.